Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Great LeadHERship Awakening. It is so nice to see all of your beautiful faces. If you want to join us on video, please do. We'd love to see your smile, feel your energy. And I just want to let you know that each of you is so welcome here. And all of you is so welcome here. I'm Kayleigh O'Keefe. I'm the founder of Soul Excellence, and I am so excited to join you as part of the Great LeadHERship Awakening. And it was just a few days ago that I found myself in Beverly Hills welcoming the incredible co-authors of the Great LeadHERship Awakening to celebrate the launch of our brand new book. And as we gathered together in person, and these authors, by the way, they're here, they'll be speaking all week. You'll get to know them super, super well. And as we gathered together to celebrate the launch of our book in rainy Southern California, right before Oscars weekend, we could feel the power of the Great LeadHERship Awakening. We could feel the power of presence, the power of connection, and most importantly, the power of being seen. And as I stood in front of the room and I invited each of the authors to come forward and receive the first copy of their print book, each woman who is super successful, and there's a copy of it right there, each woman who is super successful, super professional, super polished, super badass in what each of them do, each woman came forward. And many of them with tears in their eyes, all of them with huge smiles, to receive this beautiful accomplishment, but more importantly, to receive what it felt like to say yes to being seen, to say yes to sharing something that may have never been said before, and to say yes to allowing their hearts to be on full display. And as we sat in that room and we toasted together and I cut the cake, I knew in my heart that this LeadHERship Awakening is about so much more than just men and women. It's about all of us. It's about the inner way of leadership. And it's about us coming home to ourselves. Now, I know this to be true because it didn't just happen here with the Great LeadHERship Awakening. Just a few months ago, I was in Washington, D.C., and I was gathered together with a group of leaders who are superintendents for schools all across America. They're also members of the National Alliance of Black School Educators. And we were gathered together on a cold day around a fire at a hotel celebrating the launch of STEM Century. It takes a village to raise a 21st century graduate. And as those superintendents gathered around the fire, I mean, it felt so tribal. It was a cold day. We were at a rooftop. We were around this fire. Everyone was dressed in brilliant coats. And each superintendent came forward and shared what it felt like to express from their hearts. These are leaders who are versed in writing academic papers, who are used to showing up on time and getting a million things done. And to see the tears in their eyes as they said, this is the first time that as a professional, I've allowed my heart and soul and my vision to come through. And then just a year before that, I convened a group for a book called The X Factor, The Spiritual Secrets Behind Successful Executives and Entrepreneurs. And in this anthology, leaders came together from across the United States and Europe, from across all different religions, to speak on a topic that has been forbidden in executive circles, the topic of faith, the topic of God, the topic of where do you turn to when you need to dig deep for that resilience. And what I've learned to be true now in working in each of these books and many more over the last 3 years in building Soul Excellence Publishing is that no matter how successful we are, no matter the letters behind our name, the dollar signs in our bank account, the estate that we live in, or the apartment that we call home, no matter what we see on the outside, each of us from across culture, from across race, from across age, from across ethnicity, from across profession, just wants to be seen, heard, felt, and to allow the truest expression of themselves to shine through into the world. And so for me, the Great LeadHERship Awakening is about the inner path of leadership. It's about coming back home to who we really are. It's about the shift from shame to acceptance, from fear to love, and from woundedness to wholeness. And across the next few days, you are going to connect with women who have dug deep, who have turned within, who have wrestled with their demons, and who have come out the other side really ready to embrace their imperfection, to embody their deepest essence, and to show up in all of the spheres that they operate in, ready to lead. So I want to ask you, before we dig in, and before I invite you a little bit closer into the world of soul excellence, I want to invite you to take a moment, and if you can in the chat, just share what first comes to mind when you hear LeadHERship. What does LeadHERship mean to you? So take a moment. I would love your participation. Let's make this interactive. Ooh, celestial navigation of her ship. I'm not surprised that you wrote that as I'm reading your book right now. Don't you love when we have such an intimate connection and we can really feel the power? Yes. All right, let me change my view up here so I can see all of you. Collaboration, community, communication from a feminine perspective. Yes. You know, there's something to be said about listening, about nurturing, about noticing. And for me, LeadHERship is really the shift that so many of us are having to make. It's to appreciate, as much as we've appreciated the logical, the linear, the strategy, the results, to restore balance through appreciation of the intuitive, the nonlinear, the stepping into the unknown. I think I missed a few things. Women emanating their light, women lighting the way for others, empathy and strength. You know, there's something that happened right before I came on to kick off this summit. I was sitting here in this space, getting ready, and I just thought to myself, something's missing. And what was missing was light. And so I grabbed this candle and lit it and brought it into the space as a symbol of all of us being lit up from within so that we can shine that light to others. And so what a beautiful mirror or reflection that's already happening right here, that so many of you are using light to describe what is happening in this moment. I love this so much. I also love this. I'm feeding my 3-month-old granddaughter, so I will be off camera. Like, this is what LeadHERship is about too. It's showing up as you are and trusting that it doesn't have to look perfect. It just has to be you. It has to be you. So many of us have been missing from the equation in our lives. So many of us have been showing up, giving, 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 giving. And it's now time for us to really see our own brilliance and magnificence. And through the course of this summit, it's my invitation that you come back to that brilliance and magnificence. Oh, I love this. So as some of you know, and many of you don't, back in February of 2020, I took a big leap. I made a big leap from corporate, and I decided to go off on my own. And I stepped into the unknown, truly not knowing what that would look like, but knowing that I had this calling from within to go deeper. I had always been an explorer. I had always been someone who loved to look at the inner landscape, but it was suddenly time to make that a full-time job. And the very first thing that I did was write a chapter in a book called Awakening, Meet the Women Birthing a New Earth. And I didn't know at the time just how profound this experience would be. But what this book gave me was the opportunity to have a space to reflect, to share, and to write new things into existence. And I was supported in a community of women that encouraged me, that allowed me to just be. And it was during that pause, again, this is February now going into April of 2020. It was in that deep pause that was happening the world over that I sunk into my intuition. And it was there that the world of soul excellence began to form. And today, I want to bring you into the world of soul excellence and give you a framework that you can take with you throughout this summit, throughout the rest of the year, throughout the rest of your life, whenever you need to come back home to you. Because remember, leadhership, it's not just for women, it's for men too. And it's for all of us to wake up and come back into harmony with what's truly within us. So I wrote this book, I wrote this chapter, and it all started with a feeling. And so right now, I'd love to invite you to close your eyes, not if you're driving, of course. Close your eyes and take a few deep breaths. In and out. Just slowing things down for a moment. As you breathe in, just notice your whole body filling up. And as you slowly let it out, just feel throughout your body the breath moving. And if you're standing, feel free to sway or stand still, whatever's calling to you right now. And if you're in your chair, feel the support of the chair behind you and come into this moment. Come into this space of leaders, to the space of those who are saying yes to the inner way, yes to conscious leadership. And in the next couple of breaths, I want you to just notice how you feel. Without judgment, without too much commentary. And if you're struggling to find that feeling state, you can put your hands over your heart. And on the next breath, when you've connected to this moment, to whatever it is that you're feeling, I want you to stretch your hands up, raise them high, shake it out, do a little dance. Soul knows I was listening to Dua Lipa right before this. And I want to invite you to take this feeling state. And I'm going to ask you to just note for yourself what you were feeling. And I'm going to share my screen here to do that. I'll take you through an experience right now, a soul excellence experience. Back in 2020, when I chose to leave tech, leave San Francisco, move across the country, get off this high-flying trajectory, what I didn't realize at the time is that I was in go, go, go strategy mode, like just following the path. I knew that since I was really young, like I just wanted to succeed. I didn't even know what that meant, but I knew it meant getting into a good college, getting an amazing job, and being the best at it. And it wasn't until early 2020, pre-pandemic, the timing could not have been better, that I realized that this inner feeling world was one that I had completely ignored, actively suppressed, and did not use to support my journey here on this planet. And so it's why it matters so much to me that we take the time to connect to body, that we connect to feeling, and that we realize that it's not just our intelligence, our mind intelligence, that enables us to get where we're going. It's all of us. It's our body, it's our heart, and yes, it is our soul that is propelling our excellence. So how are you feeling in this moment? I just kind of broke it down into 4 categories. Maybe you were feeling grounded, serene, peaceful. Maybe you were feeling playful, expressive, whimsical. Maybe you were feeling excited, eager, motivated, like, all right, like, let's go. Like, what are the lessons? I've got my notebook out. I'm here. Or maybe you showed up today feeling a little angry, a little frustrated, a little annoyed, like things are not working, which, to be honest, is a great way to show up to a summit that's all about awakening and transformation. So I want you to notice how you were feeling. And the reason why I want you to notice this is because this feeling state is something that we can accept, use, and transmute to support us in life, to support us to receive everything that we need here in this summit, and can support us to choose the next career pivot, make the next big life decision, or just show up more fully as us in each and every moment. So just notice which one you're feeling. Because what I want to share with you is the Soul Excellence Guidance System. So as I turn this page, these map to the 4 Soul Excellence Inner Guidance System. It's essentially a compass, a way to look at what's going on inside. For me, the Divine Feminine Leadership paradigm, leadhership, is all about being and presence. And so present now to our feelings, we're going to show up and explore our Soul Excellence Guidance System. So back in 2020, I did not know this was inside of me. And it's almost the thing I want to invite you to question. What's maybe inside of you that you don't even know yet, because you have been go, go, go. You have been give, give, give. You have been serve, serve, serve. And while there's nothing wrong with that, if you're feeling depleted, if you're feeling bored, if you're feeling disconnected, these are all signs that something is calling for our attention. And so back in 2020, what was calling for my attention was my own intuitive gifts, my own creativity, and this world of soul excellence that flowed through me. So for those of you that were feeling serene, peaceful, calm, over here, your guidance system right in this moment is all about integration. You are ready to integrate. Just in this moment, you are ready to stand strong. And integration is symbolized by the sequoia with deep roots, feeling steady, feeling strong, feeling like nothing can make it break. It will bend, but it will stand strong for centuries. And I'm going to give you a question to consider here in just a moment. So those of you that are feeling calm and serene, let's use that. Trust that. Know that that's here for you. Now, who here was feeling a little bit more on the right-hand side, like whimsical, dreamy? Just drop it in the chat for those that were feeling a little like playful, expressive, just a little more like this kind of energy today. What this means for you is that inspiration is in your blood right now. You are ready to notice, you are ready to express, you are ready to use that throat chakra and to say and to be and to create. Inspiration is what's happening within. Now, for those of you who are feeling a bit more excitable, a bit more motivated, a bit more like, I already had my 3 cups of coffee and I went running and I'm ready to act. All right, you might be feeling a little bit more of initiation energy today. Your soul excellence guidance system is calling for action. It's calling for movement. It's calling for you to take the next step, to stop delaying and to, yes, just do. It's symbolized by the lightning strike, which was just so perfect because I live here in South Florida. It does storm all the time. There's usually lightning all the time, but we haven't had it in like 4 or 5 months. And so I had the opportunity, I was sitting on the balcony last night reflecting on this conversation with you all today. And sure enough, in the distance, lightning was striking. And I just knew it was a symbol, like, go for it. Share this soul excellence guidance system with the women of the Great LeadHERship Awakening. Now, who here was feeling a little agitated when they came on today? Maybe a little angry, maybe a little like, ugh, all right, my friend invited me to this summit, I guess I'll show up. If you felt that way, it is actually a sign that you are ready to focus on innovation. This is what the your soul excellence guidance system is telling you right now. Innovation is symbolized by the volcano. And why is that? Well, the volcano, like if you're feeling that frustration right now, means that there's something bubbling up within that's getting ready to explode. And the good news is when this explodes and the lava's running down the volcano, what happens? I mean, it's kind of cool that this just was happening on the Big Island in Hawaii just a few months ago. What happens? New worlds are created. And so do not let your frustration, your anger, your agitation go to waste, because it's a sign that something big is ready to blow up, and maybe it'll get a little messy, maybe sparks will fly, but trust that on the back end, sort of through the ooze and through the messiness, new worlds will be created. One thing I didn't share was that, because it just, what needed to be said about inspiration, the symbol of the flower. I was going to say I drew these symbols from nature, but to be honest, that's not how this happened. All of these just came to me as I was writing this chapter. And inspiration symbolized by the flower, of course, it's beauty, it's life. It's, you know, that feeling when you just stop and pause and want to smell the flowers. And you're all, wherever you are, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, we're noticing so much life starting to bloom again. So I want you to take a moment and remember how you were feeling. Connect it to your soul excellence guidance system. Is it time for you to stand strong? Is it time for you to inspire others? Is it time for you to take action? Is it time for you to make a change? So what questions like those can you take with you on your journey throughout this summit? For those of you that are connected, what are you standing for today? Integration is your soul excellence superpower for the day. Inspiration, what needs to be expressed? What has not been said that is just bottled up here that's ready to come out? And initiation, what action do you want to take? Coming out of this summit, what do you feel called to do? And of course, innovation, where that frustration is, what do you want to transform? Now, there's a bigger question here that I'm going to ask you, but I'd like for you to take just a moment and jot down in your notebook or right here in the chat, which soul excellence guidance system you're most connected to today. Remember, LeadHERship is moment by moment. It's stepping into the unknown. It's using our full body intelligence to really trust that we're showing up, that we're making decisions that align to what's really going on and what we really desire inside. So take just a moment here and let us know in the chat which one is calling you today based on how you're feeling. We got a lot of people feeling inspired today. This is exciting. Fernanda, a mix between integration and initiation. So calm and also dreamy. Yes. These are not mutually exclusive. Beautiful observation. Ooh, integration and initiation. I feel like there's some lines that we're now creating right here. Like there's some swirls that are happening, which makes a lot of sense. Lisa's got some buzzy energy going on. I'm completely shocked. Who would have thought? Oh, is anyone feeling that innovation? Ooh, Taylor, yes, innovation. Okay, Nikki, innovation. Tell us more. Tell us more. Like, what is it that's yearning to be transformed right now? If you feel like sharing, please do. Love it. As you take a moment to reflect on that, I want to share that this soul excellence guidance system and grounding it in these things that we see in nature or feel in nature is what allows us to stay present. And the second that we know that we're operating from our mind, that we're racing, we know that this is a moment to pause, to take a breath, and to come back to body. You know, there's a reason that so many out in the world are talking right now about mindfulness, about meditation, about breath work. And yet I know that as busy executives and entrepreneurs, we have to ask ourselves, like, do we just know about it or are we actually doing it? Because doing the inner work pays dividends, but it doesn't happen just by reading, by just knowing about things, by just being aware, by just listening to the podcast, by just showing up to the summit. It is a full body experience. And to get into the body is one of the most important things that we can do to embrace the divine feminine leadership paradigm, whether we're a female or a male. Ooh, yeah, Nikki, transforming ourselves and others by sharing the gems that are contained within the Great LeadHERship Awakening. Yes, yes, yes. So let me ask you one last question to guide you through this summit. Because it's not just enough to know, like, what are you standing for? Well, why? What needs to be expressed? Why? What action do you want to take? Why? What do you want to transform? Well, why? Behind all of the eyes of inspiration, integration, initiation, and innovation is intention. What's so interesting about intention is that it can oftentimes seem like a mind creation of like, this is what I want. But if you take a moment and close your eyes and just drop your attention to your heart and ask yourself, what is my intention? What is my intention for this summit? Because I'm here right now, not just to teach you, but to create the space, just like I've created this space in all of our multi-author books over the last 3 years, to connect back into you. So jot for yourself right now, what is your intention for this summit? And maybe it'll happen and maybe it won't. But let's take a moment to connect to that intention. And I'll stop sharing so I can see all of your beautiful faces again. But what is your intention for this summit? So share with us, share in the chat. What is your intention? Maybe your intention will inspire someone else to dream even bigger about what's possible this week here at the Great LeadHERship Awakening Summit. What is your intention? What brought you here? What made you say yes to you right now? I love that. Dose of inspiration in the midst of my day job. There is no, it's like Cathy Heller says. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Cathy Heller, but she's been essential on my journey as I've shifted from corporate to entrepreneur. And back in January of 2020, I came across Cathy Heller and her Made to Do This podcast. I believe it's now called the Cathy Heller Show. And I joined her group Made to Do This. And one of the first things I was inspired to do was to start a podcast, to start using my voice. And what I loved about what Cathy Heller, one of her famous quotes is like, there's no such thing as enough oxygen. So when people say like, I just want to be happy, or I just want enough money, or I just want enough oxygen, she's like, no, we want unlimited oxygen. And so Jada, when I read your response, I see inspiration in the middle of your day job. And it's like, I'm feeling that same thing of there's no shortage of inspiration, meaning we can never have enough inspiration. Things are coming at us all day, every day that are trying to knock us down, to feel bad about ourselves, to worry, to feel fear. And this week is a perfect example of that. If we can't create a bubble for ourselves, there's a lot going on out here that's ready to tell us to just shrink, to stay small, to stay afraid, to hide. And so if you're joining us here during your day job, if you're joining us here because you want to make a shift, there's no limit on inspiration. And we can get inspired from so many different people, whether they look like us or don't look like us, whether they come from the same background, don't come from the same background. It is through storytelling, through connection, and through pure authenticity that we get to feel inspired by someone else who stepped forward to live the life that they most desire. Thank you for sharing that. Let's see what else. Also to support Christy. Well, yes, of course, leadership, roses, and unicorns. You have to be here for that conversation. Looking for breakthroughs. Be with other women fully expressed. Yes. Learning. Breakthroughs in my career, relationships, and health. The last 3 years have been, well, there's a lot of ways to describe it. But what if we viewed it as a chrysalis? What if we viewed these last 3 years as the cocoon? What if we viewed the last 3 years as our opportunity to say no more? Our opportunity to spring forth, to come out as the butterfly, to fly to new places, and to embrace a new journey. Just a few weeks ago, I was in Dallas, Texas, celebrating my nephew Benjamin's 2nd birthday. And it was the first time that I got to watch Disney's Encanto. And I instantly fell in love with the movie. And one of the main songs in it is called Dos Oruguitas, 2 caterpillars. And the whole song is about these 2 people coming together in love and then needing to go through hard times, to feel afraid, and then to come out the other side ready to fly. And I just love the song so much. And when I find a song that I love, I just listen on repeat, on repeat, on repeat. And if I have any family members in the audience, you know this to be true. And so Encanto was on that whole week. And that song just made me feel like we have the opportunity to either stay in the cocoon, to stay afraid, to stay in things that don't work for us, or we have the opportunity when the time is right to let it fall away and to trust in the transformation that lies ahead. To become that mariposa, to become that butterfly, to be so bright, to be so bold, to flip from one branch, one flower, to go where we want, to feel how we want. We've all been born into a world that, for no malicious reason, seeks to have us operate in one certain way. And for those of you who are here from the corporate world, that way, again, not to judge it, has simply been very results-focused, strategy-focused, masculine-oriented. It is now time to restore balance. And we do that by restoring balance within. We do that by honoring ourselves. We do that by believing in our own beauty. We do that by connecting with women. We do that by writing our stories And we do that by expressing ourselves. And sometimes when we do that, it means that things fall away. It means that relationships that no longer serve go away. It means that careers that we once loved just don't feel right anymore. And the beauty of this one life is we have the power to transform, but we have to feel it. We can't just be handed a roadmap. I can't just say, here's the 5 steps to go from leaving your career to starting a company and building a publishing agency. Like, the steps are out there, that like the knowledge is out there. What we're here for, what I believe you've come here for, and what you're going to feel this week is that feeling state, that energy, that aliveness, that integrity. When we feel that, when we connect to our soul excellence guidance system, that's when we have the power to truly transform. So I want to invite you, like we just did, to take a moment to come back to center, to close your eyes and tune out once more whatever's around you. To trust that you're here for a reason. Something's called you, someone has called you to be here, to get to know one another, to embrace your soul's excellence. And as you take another breath, feel that intention and just pull it close to you. Receive it. It came from you. It is for you. Receive it. And as you take your next breath, just seal that intention. Seal your desire for the week. Own it. Be it. And as you come back here, just look around the room for a moment, giving each other a little smile as you do. Mm-hmm. You're watching on the replay, smile at yourself, like just smile. Here we are. When people come together, yes, with a structure, but with the willingness to be surprised, the willingness to be seen, and the willingness to connect with one another, magic can happen. Caterpillars can become butterflies. Fear can lift. Love can guide. This week during the Great LeadHERship Awakening, you will be meeting all of the authors who've taken the time to reflect, to share, and to publish in this book. And what I want you to keep in mind as you engage, as you participate, as you join us on this journey, is that I am you and you are me. We are mirrors. We are reflections. We are here because we are an energetic match on some level. And so take what you need, leave the rest, and notice how when you meet these women who've written their stories, the confidence and clarity that comes from engaging in a task like that. I really think there's something so special about this summit where not only is every speaker an incredible professional, like has had an amazing career and continues to do so, not only is everyone now a best-selling author because this book hit bestseller, thanks to many of you in 4 different categories, but beyond that, all of these women published together. And so I don't think there's a summit where you're going to feel as much camaraderie, as much supportiveness. And when we see and witness that in others, we call that in for ourselves. Just know that. So I want to thank you for being here this week. I want to set you up for success. I'm so excited that you all made it to this session, as this is our first ever Soul Excellence Publishing virtual summit at this scale. And I want to invite you to join the talks that you can, to catch those that you can't on the replay. Tomorrow, I'll be back to lead an activation and to teach you how to come into alignment and to teach you a way you can do this whether you're leading a team meeting, whether you're preparing a big presentation, whether you're going into the next job interview. This is the stuff that we don't learn in school, the stuff that just gets ignored and we're now coming to believe is so powerful. And then on Thursday, I'll see you for, of course, a little writing workshop, because how could we do something around a book without giving you some new tools to start writing your own story? Or better yet, rewriting your story. Because it's no use getting hung up on old narratives. It's no use getting hung up on stories that we tell ourselves that are not true. And I can't tell you, but how many leaders I've worked with over the last 3 years, it's now almost 400, where we start to realize that the things that we've been telling ourselves, they're illusions. They're other people's stories about who we are and who we're meant to be. And this is true no matter what age where we are, no matter where we're living. This is the world. And so I invite you to own your leadhership story this week. I invite you to embrace your authenticity. And I invite you to show up here as imperfectly as you need to, feeding your granddaughter, coming out of the shower, like eating lunch, like whatever it takes. Everything's changed. We get to be who we are. We get to wear a crop top if we want to, because we get to be. So I thank you for being part of the Great LeadHERship Awakening. I invite you to daily connect with your soul excellence guidance system. And I invite you to connect with the women who are so graciously sharing their time and their energy with each of us. In just a few moments, our next speaker, Linda Fisk, CEO of LeadHERship Global, will take the stage. I hope to see you there. And then we have just an all-star agenda coming up. So I can't wait. I think we've got Lisa after, a panel, Shirley, incredible speakers today for the next 3 days. So welcome. I'll end as I began. Each of you is welcome here. And all of you is welcome here. Thank you for being part of the Great LeadHERship Awakening. Thank you for purchasing the book. Thank you for showing up to the summit. And let us all be the light that we all sensed was when a woman is on fire, when people are on fire and lit up, this is what changes the world. It starts here. Thank you. I'll see you the rest of the day at the summit. Can't wait. So happy you're here. And thank you especially to Soul on my team, who's working hard behind the scenes all day. You're amazing. Congratulations, everyone, for taking the step to be more you. Thank you.